Good morning, YouTube. Good morning. It's been a little bit. I figured I'd do a how my summer reading challenge is going so far video. Well, it's been a while. Yes, I'm still in my PJs. I'm comfy. Um, I've been out of work for a while. A little injury here. I fell at work. Yeah, doctors think it might be a fracture. I find out officially on Wednesday. So, I find out Wednesday if I get a cast or not, or if I stay with this thing. This thing's so uncomfortable. Um, but summer reading challenge is going great. There was a time where I kind of, not really stopped. It was kind of like a pause, mainly when this happened. But since I've been out of work, I've been doing a lot of reading. It's the only thing I can do in the house because I'm not supposed to use this hand at all. So far I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books and 1 DNF, which we'll get to that one. So you can see all the ones I had checked off or ones I completed. I've got my lovely stack here of my physical books that I've read, and some of the books were on my Kindle. They were either through Libby app or Kindle Unlimited. So, in order for me to show you those, I'll show you them through Goodreads on my tablet. So I'll go over all the books that I've read first, and then we'll go over the book that I DNF'd. Okay. Alright. So, the first prompt of the reading challenge was read a book adapted to film or TV. And I couldn't think of a better one other than The Shack by W.M. Paul Young. The reason why I chose this book is I've read this book once before when I was younger, and I absolutely loved it, and I wanted to read it again, and I enjoyed the movie. I own the movie, but I chose this one because I've been wanting to reread this one anyway, because the author announced, and I know I've mentioned this in several other videos, but the author announced that after 20 years later, this book came out 20 years ago, he's going to be releasing a sequel to this book this year in October. And I'm so excited to be reading it. That one's going to be called Return to the Shack. Now, this book, this really, really gets you in the feelings. I gave this book 5 stars. Easy 5 stars. It is a Christian book about a family that they go through something that's called the Great Sadness, and it ends up affecting the husband a lot more. He blames God for the Great Sadness. He has questions about God. He doesn't fully understand who God is and how he works. And in this story, God ends up having him meet him where the Great Sadness began, and he ends up having this whole weekend with God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, and they answer, all the questions that he's had, and they explain things about who they are, how they work, so that he can understand and have a better relationship with each of them. And I just love this story. Like I said, it had me full of emotions. I laughed, I cried, I wanted to reach out and hug some of the characters in here, and it just made me picture Like, how cool would it be to spend a whole weekend with God? Or maybe to sit at a dinner table with God sitting right there? Like, that would be really cool. But I highly recommend this book to anyone. I mean, anyone, whether you're struggling in your relationship with God, or you want to be closer with God but you still have some questions, or you're dealing with something that happened to you in your life that you're having a hard time letting go and you just don't know what to do about it. This will help you, because it helped me a lot. I have a couple other of books by this author that I plan to get to. I do enjoy his writing, and it always has a lot of faith content, which I love and I enjoy. Yeah, The Shack. Definitely pick this one up. The next prompt that I did, some of these are in order, some of them are not. You'll see as we keep going in this video. The next prompt that I did was the second prompt. Now, little backstory in a sec. Second prompt, backstory. It originally was read a thriller book by a Black author. I ended up changing the prompt because I was struggling to find a thriller book by a Black author that I would like to read. The ones that I've been wanting to read on my TBR list on Goodreads were either not on Kindle Unlimited at all, not on Libby at all, or if they were on Libby, the hold time was like between 4 to 12 weeks wait time. I'm not gonna wait that long for a book that's supposed to be for a summer reading challenge. So I ended up changing that prompt, and maybe on my next reading challenge I'll put that prompt back on, because I really do want to read a book by a Black author. I want to do that prompt. Anywho, so that new prompt that I put is read a short story. And the book that I chose, and I thought it was the perfect book, even though it is considered a children's book, it's still a short story. And that is Little Imperfections, A Tall Tale of Growing Up Different by Pete Montzingo. And I'm sure a lot of you know who Pete is. He is all over social media. He was born in a family who all suffer a form of dwarfism, and he was born normal, and he is tall. And this little book has a little bit of like his struggles growing up, being a normal person compared to somebody that was born with dwarfism, how he grew up in that house, and how he felt a bit different when he went to friends' houses and just being around other people, and how he learned to cope with it and realize that he's special in his own way, that nobody's exactly different. You're unique in a special way. And this was a book that he wrote, and I gotta say, I definitely enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It was a cute little story. This is definitely one, if I happen to see it on a shelf when I'm out shopping, I would definitely pick it up to put it and add it to my collection. That's how good it was. I definitely understood his feelings of being different and not fitting in. So I can definitely relate to him in that aspect. But yeah, I highly recommend this book for any age, even though it is a children's book. Anybody that's struggling with any kind of insecurity about themselves, this is a good book to read. It'll definitely help you get through those insecurities, believe me. But yeah, if you haven't already picked it up, I highly recommend you pick it up. It is a very good book. Chef's kiss. Okay. Now, the next prompt I kind of skipped over 2 prompts, and I went over to prompt number 5 because the book that I chose for this prompt I have been wanting to read forever, and I just couldn't wait anymore. I just had to read it. And that prompt is to read a mystery or a thriller. And the book that I had picked for that one is Ward D by Freida McFadden. I have been wanting to read this book for like ever, and I just couldn't find it anywhere. And then I realized all of her books are on Kindle Unlimited. So I got it from there, and I read it on my Kindle. I've read several of her other books. I've read The Boyfriend, The Crash. I've read Never Lie. I had started reading The Housemaid, but I never got around to finishing it. Not that I didn't like it. I just paused on it because, strangely enough, that is the one book of hers that actually gave me nightmares out of all the books that I've read from her so far, which is weird. So I kind of paused on that one. However, what made me want to read Ward D the most out of the rest of her books in her series is a lot of people have been saying that they believe that Ward D is probably her most scariest book out of all her books. And I wanted to see that for myself. I wanted to see if I agreed with that. Yeah, it's pretty scary. I would say out of all the books that I've read of her so far, it is definitely the scariest that I've read so far. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's another 5 stars. Pretty much, I think all Freida McFadden books are going to be 5 stars for me, to be honest. I just love her writing. This book had so many twists and turns. It was so fast-paced from the moment I started reading it into the moment I got to the last page. I could not put that book down. Listen, when I tell you I devoured this book, I devoured this book. It's a little over 300 pages. It has 57 chapters, but the chapters are very small, so it goes by quickly. I thought I had some of the twists and turns figured out in the beginning, and it turned out I was wrong. About my theories were completely wrong to an extent. Which is fine, because that's how Freida does it. She makes you think that you know what's going on until you get towards the end, and you're like, well, I was wrong. So this book is about a medical student named Amy who gets assigned an overnight shift in a psychiatric hospital for a ward called Ward D. That is the psychiatric ward in the hospital where the more serious condition patients are. Those who have conditions as schizophrenia, bipolarism, that they're kind of considered dangerous, but at the same time they're not. Like, the ward is locked, so they can't go out of the ward, but their individual room doors are not locked. They're allowed to walk among the floor, and there's like a patient lounge. So they're not dangerous enough where they can't be around other people in the ward, but they're dangerous enough where they're not allowed on that floor. Like, period. There's like a special code you have to enter and get out. And so Amy ends up getting stuck taking the overnight shift with her ex-boyfriend, who is also a medical student, funny enough. And this book is basically her experience through that entire night shift. Crazy crap happens to her during that shift. And I enjoyed it. It does have two different time periods in a way. It'll have the present, and then it kind of goes back to when she was in high school a little bit. So you kind of learn about her when she was in high school before she became the medical student. And yeah, you find out some crap has happened to her that you would have never saw coming. And it kind of gets you to think, like, crap, that's stuff that can actually really happen to somebody if you're not careful. That's as far as I'm going to go with it, because I really don't want to give out any spoilers on it. I 100% highly recommend this book to anybody who loves thrillers or psychological thrillers. I highly recommend any and all of Freida McFadden books, anybody who loves thrillers and psychological thrillers. Yeah, definitely good read. As soon as I finished this book, I contacted my cousin Nola and I told her, you need to read this book. This book is awesome. It is amazing. Whether or not she reads it, it's up to her. It's her choice. I can't force her to do it. I hope she does, because I know she'll like it. She likes thriller books like I do. But yeah, so we'll see. The next book that I chose, I don't even know if I really should even pull up a picture of it, because everybody knows this book. I'm gonna do it anyway, because I'm nice that way. So then, once I did that prompt, I kind of skipped over prompt 6, and jumped over to prompt number 7, which is read a book from your childhood. The reason why I skipped over is I didn't know which prompt I wanted to do next, and so I asked my cousin. I showed her, these are my prompts, you choose my next prompt. And that was the prompt she picked, and I was like, all right, cool, we'll go with that one. So the book that I picked for that one was, and this is a classic, guys, Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss. Come on, who wouldn't pick Green Eggs and Ham? That has always been one of my favorite childhood books. I do have a stack, probably about yay high, of Dr. Seuss books from when I was little. But that one has always been my number one favorite of his, and I own that one too. Would I like to get all of the Dr. Seuss books? Sure, eventually. It is a big collection, but I would eventually like to own at least one of all the books in the future. That'd be really cool. If you have not heard of Green Eggs and Ham, it is a fun little fast-paced story about a character. His name is Sam I Am, and throughout the entire book, he's basically trying to get this other character who we never get his name actually. But anyway, tries to get him to try green eggs and ham. And throughout the book, the guy's like, no, I don't eat it. I don't like it. I'm not going to eat it. And until the very end, Sam I Am was basically like, will you please try it? I know you'll like it. And the guy's like, all right, fine. If I try, will you leave me alone, kind of thing. And he tries it and loves it. Finds out he loves it. But again, it is my favorite of the Dr. Seuss books. If you just want like a small kind of light-hearted, feel-good, little short childhood book just to read. Whether you just want to read a really, really short childhood book for your own summer reading challenge, I would say this one is a really good book to read. Very fast, very short. Or anything by Dr. Seuss, honestly. So that is the other book that I read. And the last book that I read was from prompt number 9, and that is to read either a graphic novel, a comic, or a manga. I chose to read a comic, and I chose to read a comic from my big book of Disney Pixar comics treasury. The comic that I chose to read was Monsters Inc. I love Monsters Inc. My husband loves Monsters Inc. We have a caricature up on our wall that we got from Disney where they drew my husband as Sully, and they drew me as Boo. So yeah, we're basically Sully and Boo in that. And then we both have a onesie. My husband has the Sully onesie. I have the Mike Wazowski onesie because I'm short. So it fits me. The comic was a very, very short comic. It was, let me see here. If I can find you. Down here. Alright, so Monsters Inc. started on page 156 in this book, and it finished on page 200. So it was a pretty short, but I loved it. I loved the movie, and I loved the comic. The comic was actually based on the movie, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was able to follow along with it, in memory of the movie because I've watched it so many times. I can't get enough of Monsters Inc. And I love Monsters University as well. I love those movies. They'll never be old for me. If you like fun-witted family movies, I would definitely choose Monsters Inc. It's really good. But yeah, that sums up the books that I read. Now the book that I DNF'd. First, I'm gonna pull it up, and then we'll talk about it. There we go. Just waiting for it to open. Alright. So that book was Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies. I was kind of disappointed because I really wanted to enjoy this book. I've heard a whole bunch of really great reviews on it, and this book has been recommended a lot by different YouTubers, and so I wanted to give it a try. It started out okay for me. It had me laughing in the beginning, but then after that, it just kind of got boring, and then it just went to, the humor just went to annoying and almost disrespectful in a way. To the point where I was just not enjoying it anymore. And then I made the decision of going ahead and DNFing that book. It just was not grabbing my attention the way I wanted it to. So, unfortunately, that one got DNF'd. Will I try it again in the future? Maybe. I don't really know for sure. I'll have to think on that. But yeah, that was all the books that I've read so far from my summer reading challenge. Let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 more prompts to go before I complete my reading challenge. So I'm almost there. I think I can get this done before we end July. I'm sure I can do that. Or at least try to, because in the next couple of days we will be moving out of here. So I know things are going to be a mess in our new place. So I'll probably would have to rely on my Kindle for a while before I can read any of my physical books when that time comes. But yeah, that's where I got so far. Since I'm enjoying this reading challenge so much, I really want to do like a fall reading challenge and then maybe a winter reading challenge after that. Or at least try to do that. So we'll see. We'll go see where this goes. And yeah, if there's any other books that you guys want to recommend, don't be afraid to comment down below. I've noticed nobody's ever been commenting on my videos, like ever. But go ahead, I don't mind. Comment down below any books that you saw that my video that you've also enjoyed. If there's any books that you think I would enjoy that I haven't mentioned in my videos before. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I got for now. And I'll update some more as I get around to reading more books. And yeah, we'll go from there. So I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, bye.